Um, are we live? Are we
I
live yet? Let's
reckon.
have a look.
I think so.
Because
Uh,
I think the irony that today, Dave, that we're talking about
yeah,
connection is just after the time when we couldn't actually connect on Facebook last night, right?
yeah. I know it was down for like what, 8 hours, 9 hours,
Yeah,
and I
crazy.
did see some really funny posts where some people were like, "Do we really have to turn it back on?" And obviously, those people haven't seen the Tuesday tune in yet, so that's why they. But yeah, it seems like we're live. We got Kim, Jane, and
Yes, nice.
then I haven't even seen them yet, but I'll say, "Hey Ramona, hey Jerome, hey Diane,
Well,
hey
there's a few
everyone
people that
else,
aren't here
Leah."
today.
Oh
Let's have
really?
a little. Yeah, yeah. Wow, let's turn that down.
Well, that's
Um,
double Dave there. You don't double Dave.
yeah, I can see people who are coming through now. And yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. If you have just joined us, do drop your name into the comments. Just give us a little thumbs up, little shaka, give us a little Big Ten, whatever you do to say hello, and maybe a little emoji of how you're feeling today on a lovely Tuesday. Yeah, me and Dave were just literally talking just for the live around. It's a bit of a mad subject, obviously, but we'll come back to what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah,
But Dave, yeah, we were talking about Manaslu, weren't we? Around
yeah,
in the media quite a bit. I mean, at the moment, Alan Arnett has a fantastic blog. He usually documents all of the Everest climbs, well, any of the 8,000 meter climbs around the world. Very, very good blog. Highly recommend it. I'd love to get him on a podcast. How cool would it be to get Alan on our podcast, Dave?
yeah. Let's message him. I mean,
He's
he
got the
must
message.
know about the Tuesday tune in, so he's probably just too polite to drop us a message. So yeah, we'll message him. But no, yeah, it is interesting. We were talking about
Yeah.
if a mountain has two summits, pretty much,
Mm.
and the highest one is really, really difficult and dangerous to get to.
Yeah.
Is it acceptable to just class the second lowest summit as the de facto summit? And does that is that a true summit if you do it? And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, it's interesting. It's
Use
interesting.
a I wonder. It would be interesting to kind of ask the community, about that because we all like to achieve things, don't we? And we all like to, obviously, if you're on here today, then you're probably into mountains, I guess. And what? How do people think? I mean, comment. Yeah, if it's, for instance, I'm gonna use Manaslu as an example. It's got a four summit and then the real summit, and the real summit is separated. It's not like a big distance, but it's quite a few meters. I think it's several meters in height. The difference between the two.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's kind of being disputed now whether the getting to the four summit is actually going to the top or is top actually the top. Yeah, what do you all
I think
thinking about that?
I know what they're going to say already. Almost conclusively, the summit is the summit, and anything below it is below it. I
Yeah,
think I do agree. I think that just logistically, with mountains like Manaslu, where you have this like very narrow, like foot wide traverse,
yeah,
say you have a group of like 30 people arriving at the same time, like the risk of getting to the top and then you double back on each other as you cross each other going up and going down. One of you
yeah,
has to unhook and hook back on. It's risky, so I can understand why they do it, but just for
yeah.
my own personal view is, yeah, if I could ever climb a mountain, I like to at least touch the highest most rock on that mountain and stand on it and know that you've done it. But yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few comments coming through, and definitely let us know how you're doing, guys. Maybe let's see if we can do this then. So if you want to go to the top, put a Big Ten, so like this, the Big Ten emoji.
Mm.
If you're happy with going to the four summit, just give us a thumbs up.
Yeah,
Let's see what the vote is here. So Big Ten to the top of the top, thumbs up if you want to go to the four summit because of safety.
yeah,
It'd be interesting to see how everyone is, because yeah, it's a big question. I mean, there's lots of mountains like that. They're very, very similar. You get a picture near the top, and um, it's like you're at the summit, and it looks this little backdrop, but you can't see the summit behind.
mm.
There's always some Big Tens flying in from Jane and Parisha. Yeah, so it's kind of, Dave, where would you fall on that? If you had to draw a line in the sand, where would you do? Would you do Big Ten or thumbs up?
Like I said, it's tricky because
Yeah,
100%,
yeah, yeah.
100% Big Ten. I always want to go to the summit, but if
Yeah.
I get to that point, just a short bit below, I'm not going to risk my life, just to like step foot on it. So I always try and
Good
have that.
message.
Like
Yeah.
you've climbed the mountain.
Yeah.
It's a technicality that you haven't stood a few meters higher than you are because it's dangerous to get there. But I mean, if I got there and I could do it, and I didn't have to, it didn't mean me unclipping or someone else unclipping, then
Yeah.
I would do it 100%. Big
Nice.
10.
Okay.
If I had to unclip and plummet to my doom or risk someone else doing it, I would just say, do you know what? I've climbed Manaslu. There's the summit. I'm off back down for a chai tea and a Momo.
Yeah.
You know?
Down to base camp. I know what you mean. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Because obviously we've all got opinions on it. I can see a lot of people are putting in, and you know, it does. I know we're here to talk about other things today, but you know, I thought it's current. We thought let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But you know, we certainly don't want to prioritize life, and you know, going into that. I don't know if any of you guys saw my email on Monday about going into the red zone. You know, I certainly think that if you were to go to the real summit of Manaslu, I definitely think you'll be stepping right into the red zone, where one step and you're dead. You know, that's a proper red zone, that is. And I think, you know, it is a question I think everyone has to answer themselves. I mean, even for me, my opinion could change, because if I'm there, and then you're right, Dave, if I'm with a group of people and it's just not safe for one reason or another, then the full summit's okay for that time. You know,
I
but
mean,
if you're there and you're on your own, you're doing it alpine style, or you know, you haven't got a group to take care of, and then the responsibility solely on you for yourself, then you can make that decision at that point, right? You know, because then
exactly.
you're managing that danger.
Exactly. Getting above 8,000 meters, you know, it's a technicality. It'll gnaw at some people. Other people will be able to say it's fine. You know, I climbed the mountain and I know I could have made the summit, and I stopped just short. Having said that, you know, like I said, I'll always push for it. Always push for it.
Yeah,
But then you got to know when there's a point to be like, oh man. Like imagine if you were going, like, worse than falling would be if
yeah.
I was going up to the summit and someone was coming down, they unclipped to go around me and fell.
Oh,
Like I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
100% certain I could like live with myself after
Mm,
that. You know, I'd rather fall, I think, than live with
yeah.
knowing that someone else did for my own ambition. So I'm feeling pretty sensible today. Ask me tomorrow, I might feel a little bit more reckless and
I
say,
was going to
let's,
say, Dave, I'm proud of you, mate.
honestly, yeah.
You
Ask me
must have read my
tomorrow.
email.
Ask me tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. Ask me tomorrow, and I might say summit at all costs. Push people out the way. You know.
Brilliant, man. There's a few
But
summit at all costs on here, but no, I get the sentiment, guys. Obviously, we're talking hypothetical today, but yeah, because it's quite common, isn't it? I think Andy McNaughton Jones mentions Mount Kenya there, and I've been doing a bit of research on Mount Kenya, so I've not climbed it myself, but I know there's some companies out there that say they're actually come climb Mount Kenya with us, and then actually you look at the itinerary and they don't go to the true summit,
yeah,
and part of me that irks part of me, because I'm like, well, why advertise that you're climbing Kenya as into the top, and then you don't actually go to the top? But I appreciate there's obviously a lot of factors involved, and
yeah. Well,
it's
it
quite
goes from a
technical.
trekking peak to a wall. You
Yeah,
know, so
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
it's quite difficult. I see Paul as well has mentioned some perfect, absolutely valid points. You know that
yeah,
if you've run 25 miles of a marathon, you haven't quite run the marathon, and I absolutely agree with that 100%. Like, can you say that you've stood on top of Manaslu? No, you can't. Could you say
yeah,
you've climbed Manaslu? I would think you could say yes,
yeah,
and then you're
yeah.
just a bit woolly about the last details. But yeah, moving
Paula
on.
Reed it's quite funny. Paula Reed is watching, and it says, Paula, that you've clicked on 5 times. Look at that. How is that? Great. Safety first. I love it. Sorry, guys. I'm seeing what you see now, which is the on my phone. But right, Dave. Yeah, no, it's great. Wanted to start off a little bit like that because we were talking before, and we were
Yeah,
like,
it's
right,
good.
let's
It's good to have a
love
little
that stuff.
debate. The EverTrekkers have
Um,
settled it.
yeah, top is top.
Top is top. Yeah. So
Good
what do we
stuff. Good
say?
stuff.
Summit or cane? That's what we say, isn't
Yeah,
it?
wow. And we got to that point. But no, guys, yeah, great start. But yeah, today then, so we were thinking, and there's a little bit of a, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one to notice this, and I'm sure everyone who's on here probably noticed as well that last night.
Jen.
No way, she has not joined.
Someone spotted Jen. We spotted her.
Really?
Yeah, she
Wow.
just ran, and Ali's ran
Wow.
in after her.
They're in the other room. Sorry, where was I? Yeah. So we're talking about
Sorry,
last
Anne.
night. That's all right. That's all right. Well, it's people spot Jen. It's a rarity. Um, So last night, obviously, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram went down, didn't it? And it was big news, and everyone was like, "Hey, let's go on to Twitter." And it just sparked that kind of thought process around, because we've had a few things that we were planning for today, but I thought around, when you go to the mountains, it is about disconnecting from the world sometimes, isn't it? Disconnecting in terms of leaving certain things at home because you want to enjoy where you are. But we know that, people who've been on trips with us, they like the option to be connected when they need to. So, speaking to their family, whether, uploading some pictures or videos that you've taken that you want to share, because I think we're part of a society right now that we want to be connected in some way, unless Facebook or whatever takes it down, right? Which is quite funny. And I'm sure that Twitter are really enjoying it right now because they probably had a spike in people on there. Maybe theirs will go down, who knows? But yeah, so it sparked the conversation, Dave, didn't we? And we thought, well, let's talk of ways that, especially in the different places that we run treks, how people can be connected. Obviously, you don't have to. You can not, you can just switch off and enjoy the journey. I mean, there's times and a place for that. And me and Dave, do that ourselves. But if we needed to get in touch, what can we do, and how would we go about it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because we think as well, there's always two types of people that go on these trips. Yeah. One half is type 1, what I would say is, and probably perhaps the majority is, they like to stay connected. The trip means as much to the people at home as it does to them, and they're really excited to know the progress. So they'll send pictures back home and meeting people and the whole social aspect of it, and posting about it is one of the things that they enjoy, and that's absolutely valid and 100%, true. And then the type 2 person is the one that waves goodbye to his family at the airport and says, "I'll see you in 2 weeks at the same spot," right? And then just goes total disconnect. Doesn't want anything to move them away from the distraction of where they are. I think me and you, Brian, probably fall a little bit in the middle. I think you're a little bit closer to type 2 than me. I think I'm probably more likely to call home, and you're probably more likely to call when
Switch
you're down
off.
in the mountain, to switch off. But having said that, I enjoy the option. I enjoy the option. And it was quite funny yesterday seeing everyone on Twitter saying, "Do we really have to turn it back on?" And I thought to myself, I kind of really understand that, but those people obviously haven't seen the Tuesday tune-in. Otherwise, they would want Facebook to come back, right?
Well, we were thinking that, and we were thinking, well, where would we do these? And we'd always find a way. I like to think that the Tuesday tune-in is a thing that's separate from Facebook. Facebook is just a conduit that we use to catch up with you guys. And if anything disappeared, we'd probably find something else. I mean, there's always Zoom, right?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, though, Facebook to me is it's no different from like a road. It's just something you use to get to where you're going. Of course, some people might crash on that road, and it has its dangers, but there might be a lot of positivity and connection as well.
Nice.
I've just seen a little bit of an advertising. Obviously, I encourage you to pick EverTrek. One thing I'm interested in, actually, while we're doing polls, reply if you're type 1 or type 2. I want to get a feel for it. So type 1, if you like to stay connected, send some pictures and update people at home. Put type 2 if you are the type to wave goodbye at the airport and see everyone again in 2 weeks, and they just need to just accept it. That'd be interesting. But talking about so where should we? Well, probably we'll start at Mount Everest, Everest Base Camp, where it all started.
Sorry, I was just looking at hey, it's nice to see newbies on here as well, and I'm sure Saran hopefully learned something today. But hope namaste. Hope everything is all good in Nepal anyway. But we got some type 1s, type 2s. I hope Facebook doesn't think we're talking about diabetes here. Or anything like that. Type 1.5. Nice.
I'm probably a type 1.5 actually. Well, I'll let that in. I'll let that slide.
Or even Andy's a type 1.3. Wow. So he leans towards one rather than the other. It's quite interesting. I like it. Marky V, aren't you meant to be going? Here we go. Ciao from Italy. You're all the way over to Italy. We're gonna leave it, and you couldn't help yourself, Mark.
Yeah,
mate, great. I appreciate the effort, mate. Joining us. On your holidays.
I'm liking it. Errol as well. Welcome, Errol. He's type 1 at heart, but wife says you have to be type 2. So mate, they always say this when you go on these trips. It's just as important to get the family on side than it is to go, on your own, because you know, it's nice to have the support of a family at home, and it's nice for them to know what you're doing and stuff like that. So I'll take the hit and contact people at home if I need to. It's quite interesting, actually. I'm seeing what people are saying, and I'm wondering if I'm guessed right, because, you know, you form opinions. I haven't met every one of you, but I'm forming stuff in my mind. I'll be honest. Shona said she would like to be type 2, but you know, after a few near-death experiences in the past, I need to check in. Yeah. So she's coming at it from a sensible aspect. Yeah.
You want to grow your green zone, Shona. That's what you need, right? And then, and then you can be a type 2 again. It's quite interesting. No, but you're right though, aren't you? Because obviously there's a couple of things there, you know, in terms of like getting to the top, you know, summit or can, or if you want to be disconnected or not. Yeah, it's always good for us to kind of gauge. I mean, obviously we know we've met some of you and I know a lot of our EverTrekkers anyway. But it's always great to kind of get a bit of a feel for what people are leaning towards. And look, you know, there's no right or wrong here. This is you know, we're all adults, aren't we? We're all individuals. We're all our own creatures, and yeah, it's great. It's great to see people. My wife would have me as a 3. So as a 3 is you'd never see them again. Is that what it is, Joel?
No. Yeah, do you know what? No, I think 3 is she's got to go with you, mate. If she wants to be...
Right, yeah, brilliant. Right, but no, this is great, though. So, okay, connection. And if you were a 1, or even a 1.5, maybe a 1.8, anything below 2, and you did want to connect, Dave, how would we... So let's start with the Nepal.
Yes.
You know, keep it in touch with people.
Yeah, it's where we started, it's where it all began, and it's where we learned a lot of the lessons that we've carried forth. So it's a logical place to begin, is the Everest Base Camp trip. And honestly, in recent times, it's easy to stay connected. I mean, there are little tricks and trades. Like one of the questions I put in the email was, you know, do you need to get a local SIM card? And certainly a lot of people do get a local SIM card. Honestly, and all the times I've been to Nepal, which has got to be around 7 or 8 now, 7 maybe, I've never needed to use a local SIM card. I've always just had a good roaming package, and signal on the mountain is really good. It's sketchy in places, but I'll be honest with you, there are places in Wales where I go that I have worse signal than I do at Everest Base Camp. One of the other things as well that I really highly recommend is, so once you get above Namche, there's a shared network, a shared Wi-Fi network, that all of the local lodges have routers that you can sign into. Now, what they do, they sell little scratch cards, and you scratch the card and it'll say be like a 2 megabyte or a 5 megabyte card. You scratch the card and it gives you a password that allows you to log on to that network until the data runs out. It's great. However, they're expensive. Top tip, in Namche, there are at least 2 like telecommunication shops that I know of, and there you can buy like 50 or 100 or 200 gig cards. You know, so they have all the data you'll need for all the way up and all the way down, and you can use it all the way up instead of buying individual things. I suppose the lodges won't be happy me telling you that, but it saves you a ton of money. So all the time I just buy that, and it's called Everest Link, and that's what I use to stay in contact. And even Facebook you can use to make telephone calls using the data. WhatsApp you can use, you know, to make telephone calls using your data. So yeah, it's really easy once you get those cards.
But Dave, what happens if WhatsApp goes down?
You signal.
or so obviously if you're on one of our trips, I mean, we wanted to kind of point this out because it's quite a niche feature to you know, if you're an EverTrekker and you're using our Vamoose app, so it's got, this is set up for a little trip in November that I did for myself just to test out. So you can see just over a month, happy days, not long. And yeah, with obviously, because WhatsApp is great, and I know a lot of people set up WhatsApp groups, you know, and it kind of works that way. But one thing we kind of wanted to use Vamoose for is to make it more of obviously the group dynamic, to help the group. So you can upload photos and images in that, so the whole group who is on that will get access to it. But another one is the messaging feature as well. So for instance, I mean, this is kind of rare occasion, but you know, we do have this, is that if you, in your app there, let's have a look. I wish I could put it on the screen, but if you could see that little messaging bit on there, so I'll click on the messaging bit, you can see that I was doing some testing earlier today. So this pings a message, and then what this does is fires it to us, and then when we reply back, it'll show here in your messenger. So if you can get signal, as in Wi-Fi, or data, and if WhatsApp doesn't work, or you know, if again, you can use this instead of WhatsApp. It's up to you. It's just another way that you can get in touch with us, guys. That, you know, I'm not sure. You know, I know it says messaging on there, but no one really uses it that much. And it's a two-way thing. So obviously this will drop into our email inbox. We reply and it'll show up as a text to you. So
Yep.
it's just a nice little kind of a feature, if you like, that if you're on one of our trips and you're using our app, then enjoy. Yeah, I hope
Yep.
that is. And yeah, you've got the little beautiful mountains in the background, and I love this app. I can't wait. It's the map feature. I love the maps. See the little. Let's have a look if I can get the camera angles right. So you got little maps on there, so you can kind of zoom in and have a little look.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. If you are going to message us, this is a great way to do it, guys. And yeah, we'll obviously get back to you as soon as we can. But yeah, Dave. So and you mentioned, sorry, mate. I know I jumped in there because I wanted to talk about Vamoose. But what's this other Signal then?
Oh, Signal is yes, an app basically similar to WhatsApp, but it's not owned by Facebook or Google or any of these big data gathering behemoths. It's just an open source app that allows for its big sell is that it's highly encrypted.
Yeah.
So when you're using Signal in the messaging, the likes of like Edward Snowden use Signal, the likes of Elon Musk use Signal and stuff like that. Pretty much. So it's just a secure way of doing it. However, I really like it because it's just it's an alternative way of other than using WhatsApp and things like that. And yesterday showed, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, they're all connected. So that it can be like a set of dominoes that going down, and if one hacks the other, then I think you can have this effect. Anyway, I'm not a conspiracy nut. I just like technology, so that was a really cool app. And I first heard about it when Elon tweeted use Signal, and I was like, what's he on about use Signal? So I googled what he meant. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And now a lot of people are signing up to it, and it's just a good alternative to WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's important, isn't it? I mean, to have these things if you need to get in touch with people. I mean, obviously there's a good old phone, there's a good old text, but if you're doing the group messaging platforms, which WhatsApp is built for, which is great. I mean, we got dozens of WhatsApp groups. Like, not another WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, someone's just added me. But it's great in a way, isn't it? It's a way to connect. And if it does go down, then you've got this other one, which is called, again, because a few questions, Dave. What is it called again?
Signal.
Signal,
yeah, and Kim Lawley on first terms, and Dave. Yeah, mate, me and the Lawnmeister, me and Lonnie, as I like to call him. Yeah, but no, yeah, he. I think he's one of those people now, isn't he? He's like Madonna. You can mention he's just a single name entity now, Elon.
That's really what Jane says there. Never, ever join the school parents WhatsApp, Jane. I know.
Oh wow, yeah.
Luckily, I've I didn't have to be part of that group because Jen's really on it with that stuff. But yeah, she does say that she has to mute it for quite some time sometimes because of the amount of notifications she gets. So I know your pain there. But no, obviously, I sound like I'm beating up WhatsApp here. I use it a lot.
I use it every day, all the time. The questions that you guys are asking are being fed to me via WhatsApp right by here.
I know. I was the irony, right?
Yeah, exactly. But at the bottom of that, I can see 2 group messages that I've missed messages in. I'm part of about 5 that are all just to do with Andy Stagdo. There's so many. But
I can't wait.
Yeah, but hang on, I just had a little dip out then. But yeah, no, I mean that it's just literally just offering alternatives. We're talking about communication. These are some of the methods that I use and I found to be reliable. In the Everest region, like I said, it's super easy to stay connected. I think
Tanzania, Dave. Sorry,
Tanzania, Tanzania is a little bit more different. So there's not really any Wi-Fi infrastructure on Tanzania. There is, you can pick up some maybe on like the shorter route, but it's not. It's really highly unreliable if it's there at all.
Yeah.
So we do the Lamosho route specifically. So if you're booked with us and you go into Tanzania, you'll be doing an 8-day trek, and for the first 4 days you will have zero connectivity, nothing.
Yeah.
The guides will have it in case of an emergency, so they'll always able to contact emergency services, helicopters, the guys back in the office, us. But your average phone, even if you have roaming and whatever settings you have, just absolutely will not work. Yeah. You may, for 4 days, getting a local SIM card if you want to, but personally I don't bother doing it because it requires handing over ID like passports and things, so I'm just nah. But after the second 4 days you'll get signal. A little top tip is that if your phone, if your phone is set to pick up 4G, I would say to you set it to like pick up like H or 2G or something like that.
Okay.
And it finds an easier network. It's just yesterday, our guide over there told me that if it's set to pick up a 4G or 3G signal, there isn't one that exists. So phones can get stuck in this loop trying to find a 3 and 4G signal and not picking up anything. But he told me to change it to 2G, and I did. And then straight away got some signal, got some text messages, got some WhatsApps. Through on Killy, like 4 days worth, just plummeting in. I had to turn my emails off for the data, because obviously I have the EverTrek inbox set up there. So, after 4 days, that's like about 400 emails just being downloaded. But no, it was great. And I managed to speak to people. So I actually had a conversation with Lauren on the phone when I was at, not Karanga, Barafu.
Barafu
camp, yeah.
It's interesting. I just looking at some of the comments there coming back. I think Andy mentions about one of the team do a phone interview, a radio air, or a satellite phone. From Lavatal. It's because satellite phones are definitely a step up, aren't they? I know we've kind of looked at some for Nepal, maybe further down the line. I mean, on lots of the expeditions we do, the bigger ones like Patagonia and in South America, the guides carry those sat phones because of where you are, because there's not even any phone signal. You want to again have that connection. On all the other trips, it's easier because of the local access. But yeah, if you've got a satellite phone, I think pretty much you can get access to it in a lot of places. But they are extremely pricey. I know we've been thinking again one personally, but on the rare occasion that you use it, but they're very, very valuable. Yeah, if you're doing a phone interview, and if you've ever watched like Everest the movie, and you can see people doing having their sat phones from from Everest Base Camp, so it's possible, but there are kind of other ways to do it for in terms of the mainstream. And we're with Vodafone, aren't we? I know that they were very good in terms of their access.
£5 a day. So as soon as you send a text or log on to your data, it'll charge you £5. But once you've done that, you'll be able to use your normal data plan all day for that 24 hours. So it can cost you £5 a day, which obviously will add up. So, maybe not, use Wi-Fi where you can. But I'll be honest with you, it's a lot cheaper than just paying roaming charges. But the main thing that I was impressed with, because the first time I ever went to Tanzania was with Andy, and I wasn't on Vodafone, and he could send texts and get signal, and I couldn't get any at all. And I paid for a roaming plan, but the roaming plan only works if you can get a signal. So after that trip, I switched to Vodafone because it's just so much easier. And when I was at base camp in October, a couple of people used my phone to call home, which was an awesome, expensive gesture on my behalf. But yeah, a couple of questions here. An interesting one as well. So about Joel has asked any tips for keeping your phone warm in winter hiking. He uses an old sock when snowboarding, but it only lasts an hour before freezing. To be honest with you, I think I'd have less of a problem with this. So I'll usually put it in an inside pocket, like as close to my body as I can, and then I run quite hot, so my body temperature inside my down jacket is not that cold. So I mean, most of the time, I'll be honest with you, I just have it in my pocket. But if it is really cold, like when we went to the summit of Killy, I don't know what that was, but it was definitely below -10. And I was concerned about not being able to get a picture. So I opened my jacket, and then I opened my fleece, and there was a little pocket on the inside of the fleece. So I just put it on the inside, zipped it up next to the body, stayed nice and warm. You can get little pouches specifically for electronics. They're like little down jackets for your phone or your power bank, and I've seen people use them, and they keep them nice and insulated and stuff like that. But I think the best thing to do is keep it next to your body is a good option.
There's I mean, essentially anywhere that's warm, put the phone, sleeping with it in your sleeping bag, in a sock, in your kind of your down if you want, wrap it up. It is a pain because you want to keep your phone on you to try and take pictures, don't you, throughout the day? Especially if you're climbing the summit of Killy, or even if you're on like Toubkal, it's cold, or Island Peak, and the weather comes in, it's a challenge to keep that warm. And I've had phones in the UK dial me. I think I was up in it must have been North Wales, and because of if it's cold, the battery just loses its energy. That became a lesson, number of years ago now, but certainly for me now, I'm always got it in my down jacket. I'll never put it in just my trouser pocket if it's cold, because I know that's just going to get cold.
Yeah.
Put it somewhere we can keep it warm, and you know, it's not perfect. It might still lose energy, but it's just better than the alternative. And you know, and yeah, or if you've got hopefully by now you might have a battery pack on you, and the same goes for that as well. Keep that warm as much as you can. Try not to be a bit loose in your bag, because your bag gets sort of transferred each day, whether you're in you know, Nepal, Kilimanjaro, maybe if you're on the back of on your bags on the back of a mule in Tubkal, or in South America or on a donkey. You know, make sure that your power packs are in. They do come with a little pouch, but even then, I put it inside a sock or put it inside your boot in the bag or something. Just keep it insulated, because you know, you need that energy if you want to keep connected, right?
And I've got a question for Andy McNaughton Jones. He said two interesting things. One, I'd be interested to know, he said his Vodafone worked for him on Aconcagua. How high up did you get signal? Was it on the summit by any chance? That'd be quite an achievement.
Nice.
And yeah, he's also said another good point, which is you can use chemical hand warmers, which are really good. I got given one, but then I gave it away because I tried to use it on my way back from EBC. I distinctly remember it was on the hill from Le Boucher when you start climbing up towards Memorial Hill again, and I cracked one open, and it was just it felt like it was burning my hand, so I just put it in my pocket, and then I gave it away to a girl who was like doing this and trying to get her hands warm. But they're really good. Nice. You could crack one open. It lasts a couple of hours. Put it in your pocket with your phone, no problem at all. Yeah, so good advice there. But yeah, interested to know whether I found out Aconcagua he got a signal.
Yeah, definitely, Andy. Yeah, let us know. I think Bry was talking about using carrier pigeons. Bry, I hope you kept the pigeon warm. You know, out of curiosity, mate. So yeah, definitely. You know, I hope the pigeon's still around.
Yeah.
I'm quite interested as well. Joel's asked out of curiosity, and this is I think in terms of the snow. I think you're talking about EBC there in terms of when does the snow or winter arrive. Normally, I mean, snow can happen any time of the year because you're so high up anyway. If there's any precipitation, it's not going to rain. You know, you can get rain on a rare occasion at Everest Base Camp, especially maybe super early in September, you know, or later in May, going into June. You know, if you're right at that end of the season, majority of the time. So if you're talking anything from October all the way through to March, you could get snow at base camp, 100%. You might get it in April, but majority of the time it's earlier than that. I mean, we've said obviously when in normal times we're running trips in Nepal, we would be seeing snow, and we've seen groups like in March, and they've had a lot of snow. You know, you're talking decent amount of snow there, so it becomes hard, especially if you're going over some of the high passes, because you're even higher than you know, than obviously where you are trekking normally, and those passes can get snowed out sometimes. I went in winter sort of 5-6 years ago, and that we couldn't go via Chola Pass. There was that much snow, but that was during winter. We don't run trips during winter, but just something to sort of think about. And that's why we always keep the itinerary when it comes to some of the high passes quite flexible. As an example, we've gone sort of anti-clockwise because of the weather, you know, which just to change it up a bit, because you went the other way would have been blocked, you know. So we've got to keep flexible sometimes depending on the weather.
Wait for it. Jen.
Wow.
Twice in one day. My God, how lucky are you guys? We don't even see her that many times. Yeah, it was in the most snow I've ever experienced on a trip was in April. I think was
April, was it?
Yeah, April. Yeah, it was April when the snowball fight at Ferice, which is which you don't realize how much effort goes into a snowball fight until you do it at 4,400 meters. And that was, but yeah, no, it was really good. Yeah, it was great. That was really, really good. And first time ever I've walked through the Himalaya with like driving snow coming at me. It was great. Having said that, I do like it in October when the sky's like glass. And it's a little bit warmer. I say a little bit warmer. I don't mean warm. Like 0 degrees at base camp is perfect, you know.
Yeah.
But I remember the second time I went to base camp, I was in a t-shirt. It was boiling. Like the sun was so strong. It was really warm. I was having to put a lot of sunscreen on. Yeah, awesome. What do you think, Anne? Should we tackle some cues, or is there any?
We've got plenty coming through from Loza, haven't we? So yeah, Dave, if you want to start, what we got?
Yeah, so I think this is on an email from Dave Roberts. Is there a better way I can control my sugar numbers as I'm a type 2 person? So I'm
Wow,
assuming he does mean type 2 diabetic.
I was going to say, yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I am absolutely the wrong person to ask. I would speak to your GP about it, or maybe your I can't remember the type of people that deal with diabetes. I actually saw one a few times. What are they called? Endos doctors.
I just think you can get GPs who specialize in diabetics and
Ali,
managing.
nothing. Lauren, nothing. No, it'll come back to me. Anyway, yeah, I would say, yeah, it's about like knowing. I would do plenty of hikes in the UK first and try and figure out what works for you and what doesn't, whilst always doing it safely. And then, generally speaking, what works for you and what doesn't will apply the same when you go to the mountains. The difficulty is we need to kind of make sure that you've got enough diet, the diet right. Now, I would say that we've had lots of diabetics, both type 1 and type 2, on our trips before. They've always been able to do them, but a lot of them do bring stuff from home as well, both emergency medication and food. So I'll be honest with you, get the advice from your doctor before you go. But as long as you've got the right foods, you know already through training what works for you, and then you let us know what we need to do in case of an emergency, then you can still 100% do the trek. It's no problem at all.
Yeah. No, I like it. It's one of those, I think, definitely speak to a specialist. I think, naturally, the way you control your diet at sea level would be the same at altitude, I think.
Endocrinologist. It's an endocrinologist. No, I didn't know. I didn't Google it, but I had an email from an endocrinologist. So I quickly just checked my emails because I remembered his name.
But yeah, sorry, I was with managing your diet. For me, it would be, and again, this is something we would recommend speaking to a specialist. But I think, I don't think altitude does anything differently there. If you're low on a particular thing, I think you'd have to take supplements for that, or at least, certainly make sure that there's adequate food for you and sugar. I mean, normally at altitude, there's the villages on the Everest Base Camp trek. We're in places we can quickly buy stuff, but I think definitely, David, and anyone that suffers with obviously diabetes to an extreme level, certainly get in touch and we'll obviously brief the team and obviously try and help them help you in managing that at altitude. But I'd speak to your GP first or an endocrinologist, definitely.
Yeah.
Just to see. But yeah, good question.
Awesome.
Alex Chapman, do you do single person tents for solo travelers? Yeah, on the trips we do tents, which is things like Kili, or if you're looking at Machu Picchu, then yeah, we can organize single tents. We've certainly looked at it because of obviously of COVID, to try and limit the amount of time spent with other people, and one of those is looking at single tents. So yeah, when we do start running trips again, it'll become apparent then. But yeah, certainly, I'd also suggest that, sometimes it's good to share a tent. And obviously, I know what it's like as a solo traveler. You don't know the other person, and it can be a little bit of sort of a lottery. You're thinking, oh, what sort of person am I going to get? But sometimes it's nice to get another person to share the tent with, because it can be quite lonely. Obviously, I know everyone's different, but also, if you're not feeling great, you've got someone else that can care for you as well, or to pick you up when you're feeling down, because altitude can do that. And I think sometimes it is, even if you don't know them, you certainly will by the end, and then you could potentially become good mates,
Yeah.
So I wouldn't certainly totally throw it out of the park. I'd certainly, and everyone's different, and honestly, there's no judgment here. If you want your own, it's completely up to you. But it's just something we've seen, from people before who come on their own. And I'd say over 50% of our EverTrekkers are actually solo travelers, and not those 50% don't always have their own rooms. Most of them share with other people. They become, good friends by the end of it, and sometimes lifetime friends. Even Bri, who's just there, who wants to share a tent with me? So there we go. You got someone else there, and if you're sharing with Bri, 100% he'll keep you hydrated. He knows how to keep hydrated in more ways than one.
Yeah.
But no, sometimes you do, Dave. I think good example, mate. We were on Kili. If you weren't feeling great, or me, I was struggling with my throat one eye, and you had some altitude stuff, we bounced off each other. It kept us going, right?
Yeah, it does. It makes a big difference, I think. I mean, I'm sure some of the people that were trapped with snorers would feel differently, but personally, I think that sharing a room or sharing a tent is all part and parcel of it. You get to know someone a little bit better, and you do have that person to bounce off. I do understand if you want your own room, it's always nice, isn't it, to have your own space? But I think just for the purposes of this, I generally prefer, having someone in the room with me, just because it's just sitting down, chatting, help each other in the mornings. It's just lots of little things you can't even sort of put your finger on, but it just makes things a little bit easier when someone's there to help you. And but yeah, awesome. So having a look. So
Leah, if you bring a hip flask, sure, here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're in.
Exactly. So namaste. Gonna snatch a game of golf.
Great to see you.
Nice.
Great to see you. Golf.
Leah, hi Dave. How's the knee? Better than Froken? What's Froken? Is this another Australianism?
She always gives you a challenge. There's always a word a week, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I understood the English language, but clearly not. The knee, I'll be honest with you, had a great. I actually went mountain biking for the first time since I crashed. I went on Sunday, and it's great. I've lost all my ability. So I used to think of myself as a relatively competent downhill sort of rider, enduro rider. And now I'm like, the stabilizers came off yesterday. That's what it's like. Every corner, I just see my own mortality coming towards me. But that'll get better with, I'm pretty stupid, so I'll forget all of that soon.
All part of the journey, Dave, right?
Yeah, no, but it's great. Yeah, and I got a new bike as well, so new bike day is always a good day.
Brilliant. It's good that you're getting out. I think I know that we've got other questions, but I think Errol Stevenson Tyrrell mentioned, just been told I had to have a knee replacement. What support would you guys offer? I want to go to Everest Base Camp. Dave, nice. I think as the man who, I know knee replacements are biggie. Yeah. I know a lot of EverTrekkers have had dodgy knees, knee replacements, ligament replacements. I mean, what would you say to that? Obviously, having been.
First of all, Errol, welcome to the club. You may be a longer-term member than me if you need a replacement. I've been told I might have a replacement in about 20 years because of what I did. Anyway, yes, there are absolutely loads of things. I mean, I could do an hour just on sort of little techniques I built up for looking after the knee. First of all, I would say get a really good support. Don't skimp on it. Don't get a cheap one. And there are supports out there that offer specific assistance. So you can buy a general one, like a knee sleeve, which I do wear. They're really good. However, if I'm going to be doing a type of activity that I could potentially re-injure myself, I wear a specific brace. I had some good advice off Paul Meacher for that as well. I think the best thing to do is to take it slow, build it up slowly, and try and rebuild a lot of the lost muscle that you've probably lost if you've had a weakness and you need a replacement. What you'll immediately find is that your good knee will start compensating for your bad, which means you'll lose muscle tone and muscle definition. So build up those muscles as much as you can to compensate for the weak knee. Am I being corrected? What did I say, Lauren? Oh, what support do we offer? Okay. Maybe I've misread it. Again, what support do we offer?
You're thinking about knee support, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I was thinking about knee supports. Yeah. Sorry, I'm on a one-track mind. Errol, I do apologize. What support do we offer? Well, we've got the best guides and the best porters in the business. We trek really slowly, so we'll make sure we look after you. And if you do need someone to help you get over the most difficult days, whether that's be carrying a bag for you or taking some of the load, then our guys are more than happy and more than capable, and really willing to do that for you. So yeah, it's absolutely no hindrance. It just means you got to go a bit slower. I trekked with a guy once. I could only walk downhill sideways like a crab.
Really?
So you got to do what you got to do.
But they still got there.
Yeah, still got there. Yeah, it just takes a little bit of time going downhill, but what's the rush? Real board.
It's a good point, Dave. Just to kind of get my thoughts on it, because I know what you mean, and Errol, obviously, whatever I say here, I hope it comes across correctly, but we get people who have lots of different types of disabilities, different types of injuries. They're old. There's some people missing limbs. There are big, huge challenges, but I think the number one thing I think we all spot is that they have the determination. They really want to do it. Mm-hmm. And I think whatever's going on, whatever you're at, if you really want to go to Everest Base Camp, you'll find a way. And obviously there's going to be hurdles. One of them having the recovery, But I always think that sometimes, it's good to have a target once you're going through these things. Dave, I know speaking to you just after your op and before, it was good to have a target to aim for, and it motivates you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And people need that. And I think, whatever whatever challenges you face, if you can get something in the diary to work towards, then no doubt you'll get that done. And
Yeah.
it'd be great to help you on that journey. If you really want to do that, get in touch with us, and we'd love to help you.
Honestly, as well,
Okay.
my uncle had a knee replacement, and it's a big, scary thing. But he said it's revolutionized his life. He couldn't trek before. He couldn't hike or do activities because his knee would blow up. It was really painful. Now all he does is he puts a brace on to compensate for an inherent weakness there, so it's stable. But other than that, he's hiking all the time now. He's thinking of my uncle, Andy, who you've met, Uncle Dick, is thinking of going to base camp. Because and there was a time where he flew to Lukla because he wanted to do the Lukla flight, but he was like, nah, no way. But now
he's just like to Lukla, didn't
he? Changed his world. So, mate, I wish you the best of luck with it, and hopefully you'll have a fast recovery. I see Brian says you went mountain biking, Dave. Have you learned nothing? I mean, I've never professed to be a smart person. I don't know whether it's the most intelligent decision that I've ever made.
Good point there.
I suppose the answer is no. Haven't learned anything. I'll be honest. It's not like I wasn't riding like I was riding before. It was I was not going fast enough to cause myself any significant injury if I came off. But
Parisha has mentioned. I hope Parisha's still on here because I know she put this down earlier, but just reading it. Anyone going to the Altitude Centre talk next week with a free session at a later date? I presume they're doing some sort of event there at the Altitude Centre. Highly recommend them, guys, if you're going. Always an interesting kind of space to learn about the science of altitude, and maybe they'll hook you up to some of the equipment there. Definitely check out the when we went to visit the Altitude Centre, Lauren. I know you're on the comments. If you could copy that, paste it into the comments, just so people can watch that video. Give you a little bit of a kind of insight really into what it is. But definitely, I'll have a look at that. I didn't realise they haven't advised us around there's any talk next week. I'll drop them a message and say, hey guys, what's going on? Let us know. We can promote it for you. Obviously one of our partners. I'll give them a shout. Awesome. Jane's asked, how's the new bike, Dave?
Oh, great question. Yeah, it's amazing. It's an absolute beast. It's perfect. It's a bought a YT Decoy. It's an e-bike, which is all I'm pretty much capable of riding at the moment. But mate, it's an absolute savage downhill, gravity-orientated bike. It's great. I have nowhere near pushed it to the limits of its capability. But it's great. Love a new bike day. Posted a picture of it on my Instagram. Go check it out. It's awesome. It looks like a stealth bomber.
Sorry, mate, it's still down.
Instagram's still down. Yeah.
Sorry, I need connection again.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Lauren's posted there it's actually linked to the YouTube Altitude Centre one, so have a little look on there. You can find it on Facebook as well. Just go to the Facebook page and live, and it'll show you all of our previous live videos, and you can see the Altitude Centre one. Is Dave's new bike like the one off The Shining? Very good, Joel, very good. Dave is a bit ghostly.
I wish it was. That thing had 3 wheels, man. It was harder to fall off.
Brilliant. Paul's actually asked around, can you get a yak taxi? I've seen them. I've seen people. I think most of them actually are donkeys, not necessarily yaks. Yaks are a bit more harder to control, and I'd rather be on a donkey than a yak if I was boating. I mean, you never know. Some yaks, happy days, strong buggers, and they can get you down. But donkeys are generally the ones you get a taxi on. But they are available. We saw one, I can't remember, I think it might have been 4 or 5 years ago, and someone actually didn't trek at all. They went all the way up on a donkey and all the way down. But they were the same time, the same day, sticking with the same itinerary with I don't know what company they used. And the day we got to base camp, they turned up, and quite a few of our group were like angry. Because they were like, they got you on a living donkey or a horse, or
it's a different type of trip, isn't it? But you'll get all people, you'll see it advertised up, you can rent a horse or something like that. I don't know. I mean, if I was going to rent a horse, I would just get a helicopter. You know, like if the idea is to
Yeah.
get a base camp and not, walk it, I would fly to Namche, hang around there for a bit,
Yeah.
fly over, see base camp, fly back. Yeah, yeah, the old yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Serious question. Wow, we got some serious ones. It's good. Would you recommend spare laces for boots? Yeah, depends on what boots. If they're the Maindel Boutans, so people are playing bingo. Yeah, definitely. Some of them are very long lasting. Yeah, it certainly doesn't hurt taking a spare bit of spare laces. Some are very, very long lasting. I think I've had my Maindels for probably 3.5 years now, 3 years maybe. They've
Yeah.
done a lot. They've done a lot of action. I've never replaced the laces. That being said, they probably do need them now. So yeah, but for one trip, you'd probably be okay. Joel, I mean, they're not a lot of weight. You can take them. I reckon Joel asked that question knowing the name of the boots that I'd that we'd say. Very good, Joel. You know as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but right, Dave, what's next? What we got? I know we're 20 past 1.
I know, yeah, it's flying through on this one. Yeah, Andy said helicopter to base camp would be bad for altitude. 100% agree with you, mate. What I meant was I would literally fly from Kathmandu to Gorakshep, wave hello, and then jump back. Actually, interesting story about that one. So I've seen people. It was a really weird juxtaposition that happened. I was in Ferice on my way back from base camp, and at that time I had pre-organized a helicopter down just to save time. And I'd already done base camp, by the way, several times the whole way. So then you can cheat. And the helicopter landed, and then the guy told us had to go and do a rescue. So he dropped off these 2 tourists that were in jeans and t-shirts from Kathmandu, and they're just standing around talking to me at 4,400 meters. Then it flew to get the casualty, came back, flew over to Lukla, dropped the casualties off, come back again, picked up the tourists, took them to Kalapatar, came back, took them to Lukla, came back, picked me up, went back again. But I remember seeing them. They'd come direct from Kathmandu to Gorakshep and then hung around in Ferice with us for about 45 minutes. I was chatting to them, asking them how they were feeling, and they were like, "Yeah, I feel fine." But I was like, "Yeah, stay overnight, and you'll know that it'll be a different." Yeah, so you can hang around for a little bit. You've got like an hour or so max probably before you start to feel a bit rough.
Yeah.
If you stay overnight, yeah, you'd be in serious trouble flying from going to that altitude. But yeah, it was just really interesting to be in Ferice. I haven't seen anyone who's not wearing trekking equipment for days, and then I see people with jeans and t-shirts and a denim jacket and stuff like that. It's really weird. But yeah.
So I was just reading Shona's had a friend who once bought new boots because her lace broke. Had to point out she could have bought new laces. Wow, that is yeah, they need some education. But yeah, maybe they just fancied buying a new pair of boots. But yeah, definitely, I'd probably go for the laces first, right? If the boots are okay. Yeah, quite interesting. I know there's a few comments here. As long as you're determined, focus your dream. Sorry, Rebecca. I think this one's for Errol, but yeah, very good. I've had 2 knee disorder, 2 previous surgeries. Going to EBC next October. Rebecca, can't wait to have you with us. And yeah, good sentiments as well. I certainly think Errol, it's definitely for you. Awesome. Well, Dave, look, I mean, coming towards the end of it now, I think it's some great questions answered. I think we talked about some good stuff today. Just to kind of recap, really. So I know we're talking about, connection whilst being disconnected, and I think, it is important to get away from things. And if that's your choice, getting out there and enjoying yourself, whatever trek, whatever journey you're going on, wherever you travel, it doesn't have to be at altitude. I know, obviously, with us, where we, specialism is altitude. But it's good to have the option, isn't it? And whether, we go back to the beginning, whether you're a type 1 or type 2, not diabetes, just, whether you want to be connected or not, it is good to have the option. And it's also important for us to let you know what's available. I hope that did it justice today.
Yeah.
I think definitely try and use the app because it's great. I mean, obviously WhatsApp is great, and we've got a WhatsApp number that gets sent out and emergency numbers and all that jazz before you go. But yeah, use the app as well, because we've introduced it. It's got a messaging feature, which comes directly to us, and that works a treat as well.
Yeah.
If anything does happen, or maybe your plane's late, or we do track, but sometimes it's good to have a bit of communication. Yeah, I hope that did it justice. But Dave, yeah, mate, Any final thoughts today, mate?
No, only yeah, final thoughts. I think Joel Palmer's asked if we can mingle around the tents of base camp. I'm going to answer that as my final thought, which is, generally speaking, you wouldn't. Climbers base camp and trekkers base camp are a little bit far apart, but you will be mingling with the summit climbers all the way up and all the way down. You'll be talking to people and teams and guides and Sherpas and everything like that. So you'll get everything you need out of it. And other than that, yeah, if you want to stay, going back to the original, I suppose, staying connected is it's easily done. It's easily not done. And there are ways and means and little tips and stuff like that. If you want to double check anything before you go, drop us a message. Happy to help.
Yeah, a message on the app.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, obviously, drop us anytime, guys. You got the messaging. You got the messenger on the website. You got our email, or you can drop us on the WhatsApp number, or you can just drop us a Facebook message if Facebook is working. If it's not, well, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next Tuesday. Yeah, have an awesome week. And yeah, enjoy whatever you've got planned. But yeah, see you next Tuesday.
Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.